The history of Bihar is one of the most varied in India. Ancient Bihar, known as Magadha, was originally known as Vihar, was the center of power, learning, and culture in India for 1,000 years. India's first empire, the Maurya Empire, as well as one of the world's greatest pacifist religion, Buddhism, arose from the region that now makes modern Bihar. Magadha empires, notably under the Maurya and Gupta dynasties, unified large parts of South Asia under a central rule. Its capital Patna, earlier known as Pataliputra, was an important political, military, and economic center of Indian civilization during the ancient and classical periods of history. Many of the ancient Indian texts, written outside of the religious epics, were written in ancient Bihar. Abhijñānaśākuntala was the most prominent. The present-day region of Bihar consisted of several ancient kingdoms and republics, which are, the Magadha province, the Anga province and the Vijay Confederation. One of the first known republics in the world, Likavi, existed in the region since before the birth of Mahavira. The classical Gupta dynasty of Bihar was known to have been a period of great culture and learning inside India. The Gupta period is known today as the Golden Age of India. The Pala Empire also made their capital at Pataliputra. After, Bihar played a very small role in Indian affairs, until the emergence of the Suri dynasty during the Islamic period in the 1540s. After the fall of the Suri dynasty in 1556, Bihar again became a marginal player in India and was the staging post for the Bengal presidency from the 1750s and up to the War of 1857–58. On March 22, 1912, Bihar was carved out as a separate province in the British Indian Empire. Since 1947, Bihar has been a state in the Indian Union. Prehistoric Era. The earliest proof of human activity in Bihar is Mesolithic habitational remains at Paisra, Munga. Prehistoric rock paintings have been discovered in hills of Kama, Nawada and Jamui. It was the first time that a Neolithic settlement was discovered in the thick of the alluvium, over the bank of the Ganges at Kurand. The rock paintings depict prehistoric lifestyle and natural environment. The paintings display the sun, moon, stars, animals, plants, trees, rivers and are speculated to represent love towards nature. The paintings also highlight the daily life of the early humans in Bihar, including activities like hunting, running, dancing, and walking. The rock paintings in Bihar are not only identical to those in central and southern India but also are akin with those in Europe and Africa. The rock paintings of Spain's Altamira and France's Lascaux are almost identical to those found in Bihar. The epics period kingdoms. Anga Kingdom Anga Kingdom is described in Mahabharata. Karna, a friend of Duryodhana, was the king of Anga Kingdom. Khagaria, Kagalpa and Munga are the regions of Anga Kingdom in present time. Vidhar, Mithila, Kingdom Vidhar is mentioned both in Ramayana and Mahabharata as comprising parts of Bihar and extending into small parts of Nepal. Hindu goddess Sita was the princess of Vidhar. Goddess Sita was the daughter of Raja Janak of Vidhar. Although the capital of Vidhar Kingdom Janakpur is the part of Nepal now. Magadha Kingdom The Magadha Kingdom was established by semi-mythical King Jarasandha, who was, as it stated in the Puranas, a king of Bhadratha's dynasty, one of the descendants of eponymous Pura. Jarasandha appears in the Mahabharata as the Magadhan emperor who rules all India, and meets with an unceremonious ending. Jarasandha was the greatest among them during epic times. His capital was Rajagriha or Rajagir, is now a modern hill resort in Bihar. Jarasandha's continuous assault on the Yadava kingdom of Shurasena resulted in their withdrawal from central India to western India. Jarasandha was a threat not only for Yadavas but also for Kurus. Pandava Bhima killed him in a mace duel aided by the intelligence of Vasudeva Krishna. Thus, Yudhisthira, the Pandava king, could complete his campaign of bring the whole of India into his empire. Jarasandha had friendly relations with Chedi king Shishupala, Kuru king Duryodhana and Anga king Karna. His descendants, according to the Valapurana, ruled Magadha for 1,000 years, followed by the Prehistoric dynasty, which ruled for 138 years. However, no sufficient evidence to prove the historicity of this claim. However, these rulers are mentioned in the Hindu texts, Buddhist texts and Jaina texts. Prehistoric dynasty succeeded the Bhadrava's dynasty in Magadha. According to the Valapurana, Prehistorics ruled Magadha for 138 years from 799 to 684 BCE. Palaka, the son of the Avanti king Prehistoric, conquered Kashimbi, making the kingdom powerful. The Mahajanapadas. In the later Vedic age, a number of small kingdoms or city-states dominated Magadha. Many of these states have been mentioned during in Buddhist and Jaina literature as far back as 1000 BCE. By 500 BCE, 16 monarchies and republics known as the Mahajanapadas Urakasi, Kosla, Anga, Magadha, Vji, Malla, Chedi, Vatsa, Kuru, Panchala, Machka, Shurasana, Asaka, Avanti, Gandhara, Kamboja stretched across the Indo-Gangetic plains from modern-day Afghanistan to Bengal and Maharashtra. Anga and Magadha is the modern North Bihar and South Bihar respectively. Many of the 16 kingdoms had coalesced to four major ones by 500–400 BCE, that is by the time of Siddhartha Gautama. These four were Vatsa, Avanti, Kosla and Magadha. In 537 BCE, Siddhartha Gautama attained the state of enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, Bihar. Around the same time, Mahavira, who was born in a place called Kundalagrama in the ancient kingdom of Latua in Jamui district in modern-day Bihar. He was the 24th Jain Tirthankara, propagated a similar theology, that was to later become Jainism. However, Jain orthodoxy believes it predates all known time. The Vedas are believed to have documented a few Jain Tirthankaras and an ascetic order similar to the Sramana movement. The Buddha's teachings and Jainism had doctrines inclined toward asceticism, and were preached in Prakrit, which helped them gain acceptance amongst the masses. They have profoundly influenced practices that Hinduism and Indian spiritual orders are associated with, namely, vegetarianism, prohibition of animal slaughter and ahimsa. While the geographic impact of Jainism was limited to India, Buddhist nuns and monks eventually spread the teachings of Buddha to Central Asia, East Asia, Tibet, Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. Nalanda University and Vikram Sheela University, one of the oldest residential universities, were established in Bihar during this period. According to both Buddhist texts and Jain texts, one of Prehistoric tradition was that king's son would kill his father to become the successor. During this time, it is reported that there was high crimes in Magadha. The people rose up and elected Shishanaga to become the new king, who destroyed the power of the Prehistorics and created the Shishanaga dynasty. The Magadha Empire. Shishanaga was the founder of a dynasty collectively called the Shishanaga dynasty. He established the Magadha Empire. Due in part to this bloody dynastic feuding, it is thought that a civil revolt led to the emergence of the Shishanaga dynasty. This empire, with its original capital in Rajraya, later shifted to Pataliputra. The Shishanaga dynasty was one of the largest empires of the Indian subcontinent. The Haryanka dynasty king Bimbisara was responsible for expanding the boundaries of his kingdom through matrimonial alliances and conquest. The land of Kosla fell to Magadha in this way. Estimates placed the territory ruled by this early dynasty at 300 leagues in diameter, and encompassing 80,000 small settlements. Bimbisara is contemporary with the Buddha, and is recorded as a lay disciple. Bimbisara was imprisoned and killed by his own son who became his successor, Arjatashatra, under whose rule, the dynasty reached its largest extent. Likhavi was an ancient Euro before the birth of Mahavira Euro Republic in what is now the Bihar state of India. Vaishali was the capital of the Likhavis and the Vijayanagar Confederacy. Its courtesan, Ambapali, was famous for her beauty, and helped in large measure in making the city prosperous. Arjatashatra went to war with the Likhavi several times. Arjatashatra is thought to have ruled from 551 to 519 BCE and moved his capital of the Magadha kingdom from Rajagriha to Pataliputra. The Mahavamsa tells that Udayabhadra eventually succeeded his father, Arjatashatra, and that under him Pataliputra became the largest city in the world. He is thought to have ruled for 16 years. The kingdom had a particularly bloody succession. Anuruddha eventually succeeded Ardebhadra through assassination, and his son Munda succeeded him in the same fashion, as did his son Nagadasaka. This dynasty lasted until 424 BCE, when it was overthrown by the Nanda dynasty. This period saw the development of two of India's major religions that started from Magadha. Gautama Buddha in the 6th or 5th century BC was the founder of Buddhism, which later spread to East Asia and Southeast Asia, while Mahavira revived and propagated the ancient Sramanic religion of Jainism. Nanda dynasty was established by an illegitimate son of the king Mahanandan of the previous Shishanaga dynasty. The Nanda dynasty ruled Magadha during the 5th and 4th centuries BC. At its greatest extent, the Nanda Empire extended from Burma in the east, Balochistan in the west and probably as far south to Karnataka. Mayor Padma Nanda of Nanda dynasty has been described as the destroyer of all the Kshatriyas. He defeated the Ikshvaku dynasty, Panchalas, Kasis, Hoysalas, Kalingas, Asmakas, Kuras, Mathilas, Shurasnas, Vishihotras, etc. He expanded his territory until south of Deccan. Mayor Padma Nanda died at the age of 88 and, therefore, he ruled the bulk of the period of this dynasty, which lasted 100 years. In 321 BC, exiled General Chandragupta Maurya with help of Chanakya founded the Maurya dynasty after overthrowing the reigning Nanda kingdom in Nanda to establish the Maurya Empire. The Maurya Empire, ruled by the Mauryan dynasty, was geographically extensive, powerful, and a political military empire in ancient India. During this time, most of the subcontinent was united under a single government for the first time. The exceptions were present-day Tamil Nadu and Kerala. The empire had its capital city at Pataliputra. The Mauryan Empire under Chandragupta Maurya would not only conquer most of the Indian subcontinent, defeating and conquering the satraps left by Alexander the Great, but also push its boundaries into Persia and Central Asia, conquering the Gandhara region. Chandragupta Maurya then defeated the invasion led by Seleucus I, a Greek general from Alexander's army. Chandragupta Maurya's minister Kautilya Chanakya wrote the Arthashastra, one of the greatest treatises on economics, politics, foreign affairs, administration, military arts, war, and religion ever produced in the history of the world. Chandragupta Maurya was succeeded by his son Binsra, who expanded the kingdom over most of present-day India, barring the extreme south and east. At its greatest extent, the empire stretched to the north along the natural boundaries of the Himalayas, and to the east stretching into what is now Assam. To the west, it reached beyond modern Pakistan, annexing Balochistan and much of what is now Afghanistan. The empire was expanded into India's central and southern regions by the emperors Chandragupta and Binsra, but it excluded the Republic of Kalinga. The Maurya Empire was inherited by his son Ashoka the Great, has been described as one of the greatest rulers the world has seen. Ashoka initially sought to expand his kingdom, but in the aftermath of the carnage caused in the invasion of Kalinga, he renounced bloodshed and pursued a policy of non-violence or ahimsa after converting to Buddhism. Following the conquest of Kalinga, Ashoka ended the military expansion of the empire, and led the empire through more than 40 years of relative peace, harmony and prosperity. Ashoka the Great's response to the Kalinga War is recorded in the Edicts of Ashoka, one of the oldest preserved historical documents of Indian subcontinent. According to Rock Edicts of Ashoka, the Mauryan Empire under Ashoka was responsible for the proliferation of Buddhist ideals across the whole of East Asia and Southeast Asia, fundamentally altering the history and development of Asia as a whole. Under Ashoka, India was a prosperous and stable empire of great economic and military power whose political influence and trade extended across Asia and Europe. Chandragupta Maurya's embrace of Jainism increased social and religious renewal and reform across his society, while Ashoka, on the other hand, embraced of Buddhism. Ashoka sponsored the spreading of Buddhist ideals into Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia, West Asia and Mediterranean Europe. The lion capital of Ashoka at Sarnath, is the emblem of India. Archaeologically, the period of Mauryan rule in South Asia falls into the era of northern black polished ware. The Arthashastra, the edicts of Ashoka and Ashokavadana are primary sources of written records of the Mauryan times. Ashoka was followed for 50 years by a succession of weaker kings. Padrita, the last ruler of the Mauryan dynasty, held territories that had shrunk considerably from the time of Emperor Ashoka, although he still upheld the Buddhist faith. The Sunga Dynasty was established in 185 BC, about 50 years after Ashoka's death, when the king Bhadratha, the last of the Mauryan rulers, was assassinated by the then commander-in-chief of the Mauryan armed forces, Pushyamitra Sunga, while he was taking the guard of honor of his forces. Pushyamitra Sunga then ascended the throne. Pushyamitra Sunga was a Yadava who then took over the throne and established the Sunga dynasty. Buddhist records such as the Ashokavadana write that the assassination of Padrita and the rise of the Sunga Empire led to a wave of persecution for Buddhists, and a resurgence of Hinduism. According to John Marshall, Pushyamitra Sunga may have been the main author of the persecutions, although later Sunga kings seem to have been more supportive of Buddhism. Other historians, such as Etienne Lamotte and Ramila Thapa, partially support this view. Middle Kingdoms. The Gupta dynasty ruled from around 240 to 550 CE. The origins of the Gupta dynasty are shrouded in obscurity. The Chinese traveller Xuanzang provides the first evidence of the Gupta kingdom in Magadha. He came to India in 672 CE and heard of Maharaja Sri Gupta, who built a temple for Chinese pilgrims near Mrigasakavana. Gatultkacha CE, had a son named Chandragupta I, founder of the Mauryan Empire. In a breakthrough deal, Chandragupta I was married to a woman from Lichkavia, the main power in Magadha. Samudragupta succeeded Chandragupta I in 335, and ruled for about 45 years, until his death in 380. He attacked the kingdoms of Shichklatra, Padmavati, Mawas, the Audyas, the Arjanayanas, the Maduras and the Aparas, and merged them in his kingdom. By his death in 380, he had incorporated over 20 kingdoms into his realm. His rule extended from the Himalayas to the river Narmada and from the Brahmaputra to the Yamuna. He gave himself the titles King of Kings and World Monarch. He is considered the Napoleon of India. Chandragupta I performed Ashwamedha Yaga to underline the importance of his conquest. Chandragupta II, the son of power, ruled from 380 until 413. Only marginally less successful than his father, Chandragupta II expanded his realm westwards, defeating the Saka western Kshatrapas of Malwa, Gujarat and Saurashtra in a campaign lasting until 409. Chandragupta II was succeeded by his son Kumaragupta I, known as the Mahendraditya. He ruled until 455. Towards the end of his reign, a tribe in the Narmada Valley, the Pushyamitras, rose in power to threaten the empire. Skandagupta is generally considered the last of the great rulers. He defeated the Pushyamitra threat, but then was faced with invading Hephthalites or Huna, from the northwest. He repulsed a Huna attack c. 477. Skandagupta died in 487 and was succeeded by his son Narasimhagupta Baladitya. The Gupta Empire was one of the largest political and military empires in ancient India. The Gupta period is referred to as the classical age of India by most historians. The time of the Gupta Empire was an Indian golden age in Indian science, technology, engineering, art, dialectic, literature, logic, mathematics, astronomy, religion and philosophy. The Gupta Empire had their capital at Pataliputra. The difference between Gupta Empires and Mauryan Empires administration was that in the Mauryan administration power was centralized, but in the Gupta administration power was more decentralized. The empire was divided into provinces and the provinces were further divided into districts. Villages were the smallest units. The kingdom covered Gujarat, northeast India, southeastern Pakistan, Odisha, northern Madhya Pradesh and eastern India, with capital at Pataliputra, modern Patna. All forms of worship were carried out in Sanskrit. Rapid strides were made in astronomy during this period. Aryabhata and Varamihira were two great astronomers and mathematicians. Aryabhata stated that the Earth moved round the Sun and rotated on its own axis. Aryabhata, who is believed to be the first to come up with the concept of zero, postulated the theory that the Earth moves round the Sun, and studied solar and lunar eclipses. Aryabhata's most famous work was Aryabhata Varamihira's most important contributions are the encyclopedic Brihat Samhita and Pancha Siddhantika. Metallurgy also made rapid strides. The proof can be seen in the iron pillar of Vaishalian near Mirali on the outskirts of Delhi, which was brought from Bihar. This period is also very rich in Sanskrit literature. The material sources of this age were Kalidasa's works. Raghavamsa, Malavikarnimitram, Magadha, Abhijñānaśākuntala plus or minus Anakuntala and Kumarasambhava, Mrikshakatika by Shudraka, Panchatantra by Vishnu Sharma, Kama Sutra and 13 plays by Basa were also written in this period. In medicine, the Guptas were notable for their establishment and patronage of free hospitals. Although progress in physiology and biology was hindered by religious injunctions against contact with dead bodies, which discouraged dissection and anatomy, Indian physicians excelled in pharmacopoeia, caesarean section, bone setting, and skin grafting. Indeed, Hindu medical advances were soon adopted in the Arab and Western worlds. Ayurveda was the main medical system. According to some historians' work, the Pala Empire was a Buddhist dynasty that ruled from the northeastern region of the Indian subcontinent. The name Pala means protector and was used as an ending to the names of all Pala monarchs. The Palas were followers of the Mahayana and Tantric schools of Buddhism. Gopala was the first ruler from the dynasty. He came to power in 750 in Goa by a democratic election. This event is recognized as one of the first democratic elections in South Asia since the time of the Mahajanapadas. He reigned from 750 to 770 and consolidated his position by extending his control over all of Bengal as well as parts of Bihar. The Buddhist dynasty lasted for 4 centuries. The empire reached its peak under Dharmapala and Divipala. Dharmapala extended the empire into the northern parts of the Indian subcontinent. This triggered once again the power struggle for the control of the subcontinent. Divipala, successor of Dharmapala, expanded the empire to cover much of South Asia and beyond. His empire stretched from Assam and Utkala in the east, Cambodia in the northwest and Deccan in the south. According to Pala copperplate inscription, Divipala exterminated the Utkalas, conquered the Pragjotishar, shattered the pride of the Huna, and humbled the lords of Pratisharas, Gurjara and the Dravidas. The Palas created many temples and works of art as well as supported the universities of Nalanda and Vikram. Both Nalanda University and Vikram University reached their peak under the Palas. The universities received an influx of students from many parts of the world. Bihar and Bengal were invaded by the South Indian Emperor Rajendra Chola I of the Chola dynasty in the 11th century. The Pala Empire eventually disintegrated in the 12th century under the attack of the Sena dynasty. Pala Empire was the last empire of Middle Kingdoms whose capital was Pataliputra. Medieval period. Bihar was largely in ruins when visited by Xuanzang, the famous Buddhist monk from China, and suffered further damage at the hands of Muslim raiders in the 12th century. With the advent of the foreign aggression and eventual foreign subjugation of India, Bihar passed through very uncertain times during the medieval period. Muhammad of Ghor attacked this region of the Indian subcontinent many times. Muhammad of Ghor's armies destroyed many Buddhist structures, including the great Nalanda University. The Buddhism of Magadha was finally swept away by the Islamic invasion under Muhammad bin Baksha Khilji. One of Qutb ud-Din's generals destroyed monasteries fortified by the Seni armies, during which many of the viharas and the famed universities of Nalanda and Vikramshila were destroyed, and thousands of Buddhist monks were massacred in the 12th century. During the medieval period, Bihar saw a period of glory for about 6 years during the rule of Shishasuri, who hailed from Sajaram. Shishasuri built the longest road of the Indian subcontinent, the Grand Trunk Road, which starts from Calcutta and ends at Peshawar, Pakistan. The economic reforms carried out by Shishar, like the introduction of rupee and custom duties, is still used in the Republic of India. He revived the city of Patna, where he built up his headquarters. Hemu, the Hindu emperor, the son of a food seller, and himself a vendor of salt butter at Rewari, rose to become chief of army and prime minister under the command of Adil Shah Suri of the Suri dynasty. He had won 22 battles against Afghans, from Punjab to Bengal, and had defeated Akbar's forces twice at Agra and Delhi in 1556, before acceding to the throne of Delhi and establishing Hindu Raj in North India, albeit for a short duration, from Puranikala in Delhi. He was killed in the Second Battle of Panipat. From 1557 to 1576, Akbar the Great, the Mughal emperor, annexed Bihar and Bengal to his empire, and the region passed through uneventful provincial rule during much of this period. With the decline of Mughals, Bihar passed under the control of Nawabs of Bengal. This period saw exploitation at the hands of the rulers in the form of high taxes, but the Nawabs of Bengal also allowed trade to flourish in this region. Some of the greatest mellahs of the Indian subcontinent, viz., Soenpa Mela, which is the biggest cattle fair in India, were allowed to continue and even flourish, inviting traders from far and near. Guru Nanak Dev had visited Patna, stayed at Bhagat Jatmal's house near Angayat, Patna in 1509 CE, and later by Guru Teg Bahadur along with Patna his family in 1666. The 10th and the last Guru of Sikhism, Guru Gobind Singh, was born at Patna Sahib, Patna in 1666. Prince Azimuddin Khan, the grandson of Aurangzeb, came as the governor of Pataliputra in 1703. Azimuddin Khan named Pataliputra as Azimabad, in 1704. The company rule. After the Battle of Buxar, 1764, which was fought in Buxar, hardly 115 kilometers from Patna, the Mughals as well as the Nawabs of Bengal lost effective control over the territories then constituting the province of Bengal, which currently comprises the Indian states of West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Bangladesh. The British East India Company was accorded the Dani rights, that is, the right to administer the collection and management of revenues of the province of Bengal, and parts of Oudh, currently comprising a large part of Uttar Pradesh. The Dani rights were legally granted by Shah Alam, who was then the sovereign Mughal Emperor of India. During the rule of the British East India Company in Bihar, Patna emerged as one of the most important commercial and trading centres of eastern India, preceded only by Kolkata. Babu Kunwar Singh of Jagdishpur and his army, as well as countless other persons from Bihar, contributed to the India's First War of Independence, also called the Sepoy Mutiny by some historians. Babu Kunwar Singh, one of the leaders of the Indian uprising of 1857, belonged to a royal Rajput house of Jagdishpur, currently a part of Bhojpur district of Bihar. At the age of 80 years, during India-Unregistered Trademark's First War of Independence, he actively led a select band of armed soldiers against the troops under the command of the East India Company, and also recorded victories in many battles. The British Raj. Under the British Raj, Bihar, particularly Patna, gradually started to attain its lost glory and emerged as an important and strategic centre of learning and trade in India. From this point, Bihar remained a part of the Bengal Presidency of the British Raj until 1912, when the province of Bihar and Orissa was carved out as a separate province. When the Bengal Presidency was partitioned in 1912 to carve out a separate province, Patna was made the capital of the new province. The city limits were stretched westwards to accommodate the administrative base, and the township of Bankipur took shape along the Bailey Road. This area was called the new capital area. The houses of the English residents were all at the west end at Bankipur. The greater part of the English residences were on the banks of the river, many of them being on the northern side of an open square, which formed the parade ground and racecourse. There was also the Gola, a wondrous bell-shaped building, 100 feet high, with a winding outer staircase leading to the top, and a small entrance door at the base, which was intended for a granary, to be filled when there was the expectation of famine, but the plan was found to be, both politically and materially, impracticable. To this day, locals call the old area as the city, whereas the new area is called the new capital area. The Patna Secretariat with its imposing clock tower and the Patna High Court are two imposing landmarks of this era of development. credit for designing the massive and majestic buildings of colonial Patna goes to the architect, I.F. Munnings. By 1916 to 1917, most of the buildings were ready for occupation. These buildings reflect either Indo-Saracenic influence, or overt Renaissance influence like the Raj Bhawan and the High Court. Some buildings, like the General Post Office and the Old Secretariat, bear pseudo-Renaissance influence. Some say, the experience gained in building the new capital area of Patna proved very useful in building the imperial capital of New Delhi. The British built several educational institutions in Patna like Patna College, Patna Science College, Bihar College of Engineering, Prince of Wales Medical College and the Patna Veterinary College. With government patronage, the Biharis quickly seized the opportunity to make these centres flourish quickly and attain renown. In 1935, certain portions of Bihar were reorganised into the separate province of Orissa. Patna continued as the capital of Bihar province under the British Raj. Independence movement, Bihar played a major role in the Indian independence struggle. The role of Rash Bihari Lal Mandal in establishing Congress Party in Bihar and for his contribution to social justice movement is indeed considerable. The editorial of April 27, 1908 Amrita Bazar Patrika, the renowned daily of India then, published from Calcutta was all praise for Rash Bihari Lal Mandal, the Zamindar of Mero estate, Madhepura for having taken headlong Mr. F.F. Lyall, the haughty district magistrate of Bhagalpur, and Mandal's petition at Calcutta High Court for transfer of his cases from Bhagalpur to Darbhanga on the ground of prejudiced attitude of Lyall had been accepted. Lyall raked the issue again by making defamatory comments against the justices of Calcutta High Court on the order, and was again hauled for it. Before that Amrita Bazar Patrika had reported the issue on February 22, 1908, according to which Mr. Jackson, the lawyer of Ras Bihari Lal Mandal had argued before Justice Kept that since 1902, when Mandal had refused to part with a certain piece of land at heart of Madhepura on the orders of the Mr. Shers, the then district magistrate, had incurred the wrath of the administration and police. Since then series of criminal cases were brought against Mr. Mandal and he had to move to High Court more than a dozen of times to save himself. It was not a mere coincidence that the first person to be granted bail before arrest, on the orders of Calcutta High Court was late Ras Bihari Lal Mandal. The Gazetteer of Bhagalpur district has also mentioned the extraordinary case of Ras Bihari Lal Mandal. Late Ras Bihari Lal Mandal had many distinctions to his credit. Most notable are the Champaran movement against the indigo plantation and the Quit India movement of 1942. After his return from South Africa, it was from Bihar that Mahatma Gandhi launched his pioneering civil disobedience movement, Champaran Satyagraha. Rajkumar Shaikla drew the attention of Mahatma Gandhi to the exploitation of the peasants by European indigo planters. Champaran Satyagraha received the spontaneous support from many Biharis, including Brajeshwar Prasad, Rajendra Prasad and Anugrah Narayan Sinha. In India's struggle for independence, the Champaran Satyagraha marks a very important stage. Rajkumar Shaikla drew the attention of Mahatma Gandhi, who had just returned from South Africa, to the plight of the peasants suffering under an oppressive system established by European indigo planters. Besides other excesses, they were forced to cultivate indigo on March 20, part of their holding, and sell it to the planters at prices fixed by the planters. This marked Gandhi a unregistered trademark S entry into the India unregistered trademark S independence movement. On arrival at the district headquarters in Motihari, Gandhi and his team of lawyers Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Anugrah Narayan Sinha, Brajeshwar Prasad and Ram Navami Prasad, who he had handpicked to participate in the Satyagraha were ordered to leave by the next available train. They refused to do this, and Gandhi was arrested. He was released and the ban order was withdrawn in the face of a Satyagraha threat. Gandhi conducted an open inquiry into the peasant unregistered trademark S grievances. The government had to appoint an inquiry committee with Gandhi as a member. This led to the abolition of the system. Rajkumar Shaikla has been described by Gandhi in his Atmakatha, as a man whose suffering gave him the strength to rise against the odds. In his letter to Gandhi he wrote, "Respected Mahatma, you hear the stories of others every day. Today please listen to my story. I want to draw your attention to the promise made by you in the Lucknow Congress that you would come to Champaran. The time has come for you to fulfill your promise. 1.9 million suffering people of Champaran are waiting to see you." Gandhi reached Patna on April 10, 1917, and on April 16 he reached Motihari accompanied by Raj Kumar Shaikla. Under Gandhi a unregistered trademark's leadership the historic Champaran Satyagraha began. The contribution of Raj Kumar Shaikla is reflected in the writings of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, first President of India, Anugrah Narayan Sinha, Acharya Kripalani and Mahatma Gandhi himself. Raj Kumar Shaikla maintained a diary in which he has given an account of struggle against the atrocities of the indigo planters, atrocities so movingly depicted by Dinabandhu Mitra and Nil Darpan, a play that was translated by Michael Madhusudan Dutt. This movement by Mahatma Gandhi received the spontaneous support of a cross-section of people, including Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Bihar Kazari Shri Krishna Sinha, Dr. Anugrah Narayan Sinha and Brajeshwar Prasad. Shahid Baikulvar Shaikla was another nationalist from Bihar, who was hanged for murdering a government approver named Phanendranath Ghosh. This led to the hanging of Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Raguru. Phanendranath Ghosh, hitherto a key member of the Revolutionary Party, had betrayed the cause by turning an approver and giving evidence, which led to the execution. Baikulvar was commissioned to plan the execution of Ghosh as an act of ideological vendetta. He carried out the killing successfully on November 9, 1932. He was arrested, tried, convicted, and on May 14, 1934 hanged in Gaya Central Jail. He was only 28 years old. In northern central Bihar, peasants' movement was an important side effect of the independence movement. The Kisan Sabha movement started in Bihar under the leadership of Swami Sayajanand Saraswati, who had formed in 1929 the Bihar Provincial Kisan Sabha to mobilize peasant grievances against the zamindari attacks on their occupancy rights. Gradually the peasant movement intensified and spread across the rest of India. All these radical developments on the peasant front culminated in the formation of the All India Kisan Sabha at the Lucknow session of the Indian National Congress in April 1936, with Swami Sayajanand Saraswati elected as its first president. This movement aimed at overthrowing the feudal zamindari system instituted by Britishers. It was being led by Swami Sayajanand Saraswati and his followers Pandit Yamuna Kajay, Rahul Sankrityanan and others. Pandit Yamuna Kajay along with Rahul Sankrityanan and other Hindi literaries started publishing a Hindi weekly Hunkar from Bihar, in 1940. Hunkar later became the mouthpiece of the peasant movement and the agrarian movement in Bihar and was instrumental in spreading the movement. The peasant movement later spread to other parts of the country and helped in digging out the British roots in the Indian society by overthrowing the zamindari system. Bihar's contribution in the independence movement has been immense, with famous leaders like Swami Sayajanand Saraswati, Shahid Baikulvar Shaikla, Bihar Bibhuti Anugrah Narayan Sinha, Maulana Mazhar-ul-Haq, Lunayak Jayaprakash Narayan, Satendra Narayan Sinha, Bhajan Singh, Yojendra Shaikla, Shilpadra Yaji, Pandit Yamuna Kajay, Dr. Mahfuz Ahmad Ajazi and many others who worked for India's independence and worked for the upliftment of the underprivileged masses. Khudiram Bose, Upendra Narayan Azad, and Prafulla Chaki were also active in revolutionary movement in Bihar. More than 100 of cases were registered in different jails of Bihar like Madhepura, Darbhanga, Sahasa etc. against the great Sun Soil late Shri Upendra Narayan Azad. Towards the end of 1946, between October 30 and November 7, a large-scale massacre of Muslims in Bihar brought partition closer to inevitability. Begun as a reprisal for the Noakhali riot, whose death toll had been greatly overstated in immediate reports, it was difficult for authorities to deal with because it was spread out over a large area of scattered villages, and the number of casualties was impossible to establish accurately. According to a subsequent statement in the British Parliament, the death toll amounted to 5,000. The statesman's estimate was between 7,500 and 10,000. The Congress Party admitted to 2,000. Mr. Jinnah claimed about 30,000. The first cabinet of Bihar was formed on April 2, 1946, consisting of 2 members, Dr. Shri Krishna Sinha as the first Chief Minister of Bihar and Dr. Anugrah Narayan Sinha as Deputy Chief Minister cum Finance Minister of Bihar. Other ministers were inducted later. The cabinet served as the first Bihar government after independence in 1947. In 1950, Dr. Rajendra Prasad from Bihar became the first President of India. Modern. The 1974 smallpox epidemic of India occurred primarily in Bihar and a few other Indian states, killing thousands of people. The state of Jharkhand was carved out of Bihar in the year 2000. 2005 Bihar Assembly elections ended the 15 years of continuous AJD rule in the state, giving way to NDA led by Nitish Kumar. Bihari migrant workers have faced violence and prejudice in many parts of India, like Maharashtra, Punjab and Assam. To mark the separation of Bihar from Bengal on March 22, 1912, the completion of 100 years of existence is being celebrated in the name of Bihar Shatabadi Celebration Utsav. There was a political crisis over post of the chief minister during February 2015. Timeline for Bihar: 560 euro 480 BCE, Anga, Buddha, 490 BCE, establishment of Pataliputra, before 325 BCE, Anga, Nanda clan in Magadha, Likavis in Vaishali, before 500 BCE, foundation of world's first republic in Vaishali. 450 euro 362 BCE, Emperor Maya Padma Nanda is ruler of the Magadha Empire, Nanda Dynasty. Start of the Golden Age of Bihar, 304 BCE, Ashok Maurya born in Pataliputra, 325 euro 185 BCE, Magadha Empire under the Maurya Dynasty, 340 BCE, General Chandragupta Maurya crowned Emperor of Magadha. Chandragupta is the first Mauryan Emperor, 273 BCE, Ashok Maurya crowned new Emperor of Magadha. Bihari Magadhi Buddhism is exported to Persian Empire, Greece, China and East Asia, 273 euro 232, conquest of Indian region by Ashok the Great falls under Magadha territories and taxation system. 232 BCE, death of Emperor Ashok Maurya, 250 BCE, Third Buddhist Council, 185 BCE euro 80 CE, the Magadha Empire falls under the Sunga Dynasty after the military coup by General Pushumitra Shunga. 71 euro 26 BCE, Magadha Empire falls under the Kanva Dynasty, 240 euro 600 CE, Magadha Empire falls under the Gupta Dynasty. First ruler is Chandragupta, 375 euro 415, Emperor Chandragupta II, 500, attack by Huns weakens the imperial center and Pataliputra. Provinces break away. And of the Bihari Golden Age, 600 euro 650, Harshavardhana Empire expands into Magadha from the Haryana region, 750 euro 1200, the Bengali Pala dynasty expands into Magadha, 1200, Bhakti or Khilji's army destroys the Buddhist universities at Nalanda and Vikram Sheela in Bihar. Start of the Muslim era, 1200 euro 1400, sharp decline of Buddhism in Bihar and northern India in general, 1250 euro 1526, Magadha becomes a core part of the Delhi Sultanate-e-Hind, 1526 euro 1540, Mughal Emperor, Babur, defeats the last Sultan of Delhi, Lodi, and establishes the Mughal dynasty in Delhi and Agra, 1540 euro 1555, new empire from Bihar, with Shenshah Shah Suri. Shah captures empire from Mughals, 1556, Hindu king Hemchandra Vikramaditya popular as Hemu wins Agra and Delhi independently as a Vikramaditya king and declares Hindu rule in North India, 1556, Mughal dynasty restored in Agra after the Battle of Panipat, centre of power moves back to Delhi-Agra region, 1556 euro 1764, Bihar is a wealthy, core territory/province of the Mughal Sultanate-e-Hind, 1666, Guru Gobind Singh X and last Sikh Guru, is born in Patna, 1757 euro 1857. The British East India Company expands its rule into Bihar from Bengal, 1764, Battle of Buxar, core lands of Mughal Hindustan are put firmly under British Company government. Tax collection rights are now a duty of the company. 1764 Euro 1920, migration of Bihari and United Provinces workers across the British Empire by the company and later Crown government. Bihari migrant population dominate and settle in Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad-Tobago, Fiji, Mauritius, and natal South Africa. Smaller settler colonies also established in Jamaica and West Indies in general. 1857, period of the North Indian Rebellion of 1857. Bihari, Purvanchali, and Western UP East India Company sepoys declare Bahadur Shah Zafar II Emperor of Hindustan. The region becomes the centre of resistance to the East India Company. Under the Muslim era, 1858, Mughal Sultanate Hind reorganised to form the new British Indian Empire after the British government abolishes the East India Company. Start of the British Age, 1877, House of Windsor is made the new imperial royal family. Queen Victoria declared the first Empress of the British Indian Empire, 1912, province of Bihar and Orissa separated from Bengal, 1913, start of the dramatic slowdown in wealth creation in India and Bihar, 1916, Patna High Court founded, 1917, Mahatma Gandhi arrives in Champaran with a team of eminent lawyers, Brajeshwar Prasad, Rajendra Prasad, Anugrah Narayan Sinha and others. The Champaran Satyagraha movement is launched. Establishment of Patna University, 1925, Patna Medical College Hospital established under the name Prince of Wales Medical College, 1935. 1935 Government of India Act federates the Indian Empire and creates a new Bihar. End of the British Age, 1936, Sir James David Sifton appointed the first governor of Bihar. 1937, formation of first Congress government in Bihar under provincial autonomy granted by British rule, Dr. Sri Krishna Sinha sworn in as Chief Minister and Dr. Anugrah Narayan Sinha became Deputy Chief Minister cum Finance Minister. 1942, Quit India Movement. 1946, first Cabinet of Bihar formed, consisting of two members, Dr. Sri Krishna Sinha as first Chief Minister of Bihar and Dr. Anugrah Narayan Sinha as Bihar's first Deputy Chief Minister cum Finance Minister, also in charge of labour, health, agriculture and irrigation. Other ministers were inducted later. 1947, Indian independence. Bihar becomes a state in the new Dominion of India. Religious violence leads to the migration of millions of Bihari Muslims to the new Pakistani states of Sindh and East Pakistan. 1947 Euro 1950, the Dominion of India is replaced by a republic in 1950. Central government adopts symbols of ancient imperial Bihar, 1950, enactment of Land Reforms Bill in Bihar, and abolishment of zamindari system. 1952, many development projects needed for the all-round development of the state initiated, be it on irrigation front or on industrial front by the state government. It included several river valley projects right from Koshi, Ugor and Sakri to several other such river projects. 1952-57, Bihar rated as the best administered among the states in the country. 1955 The Bla Institute of Technology, BIT, is established at Mesra, Ranchi. 1957-62, second five-year plan period, Bihar government brought several heavy industries like Barauni Oil Refinery, HEC plant at Hasia, Bokaro Steel Plant, Barauni Fertilizer Plant, Barauni Thermal Power Plant, Methane Hydel Power Station, sulfur mines at Amjor, Sindri Fertilizer Plant, Kalgali Coal Washery, Barauni Dairy Project, etc. for the all-round development of the state. 1963 Euro 1967, Sri Krishna Ballabh Sahai became Chief Minister of Bihar by defeating his contestant Mahesh Prasad Sinha with support of Satyendra Narayan Sinha. In his term of government, the state underwent further massive industrialization. 1973, Indian wealth creation begins to recover. Surge in all India GDP starts again. 1975 Euro 1977, suspension of the Republican Constitution. Bihar is the centre of resistance against the emergency. Janata Party came to power at centre and in Bihar. Karpuri Thakur became CM after winning chief ministership battle from the then Janata Party president Satyendra Narayan Sinha. 1984, Indira Gandhi assassination leads to deadly anti-Sikh riots in northern India, including Bihar. 1988 to 1990, unceremonious removal of Bihar CM Bhagwat Azad, veteran leader Satyendra Narayan Singh sworn in as Chief Minister of Bihar. Lalu Prasad Yadav became leader of opposition. 1990–2005, Lalu Prasad/Rabri Devi term of government. Period marks the complete collapse of the Bihar economy, massive rise in crime, and the development of mass migration to other states in Indian Union of all classes/castes and religions. 1992, Bihar express sever rioting after the destruction of Babri Masjid. 2000, Bihar divided into two states by NDA central government. The northern part retains the name Bihar, while southern becomes the state of Jharkhand. 2002–2004, deadly crime wave grips Patna and Bihar. 2003, first Bihari Bojarai immigrant worker crisis. Bihari migrants attacked in Mumbai, and hundreds killed and tens of thousands flee Assam. 2005, in February, Lalu Prasad/Rabri Devi lose power after 15 years. President's rule declared after a no-party wins overall majority in lower house. 2005, in November, Janata Dal with the BJP wins the state election with a working majority. Nitish Kumar becomes the first NDA chief minister of Bihar. 2005–2007, Nitish Kumar is declared the best chief minister in India by the India Today magazine. 2007, first global meet for a resurgent Bihar was organised in Patna. President APJ Abdul Kalam inaugurated the meet. Bojarai Cinema Hall complex bombed in Punjab. 6 UP and Bihari migrant workers killed. 2008, second Bihari Bojarai immigrant worker crisis, migrants killed in racially motivated hate attacks in Maharashtra, Assam, Manipur, and Nagaland. Hundreds of thousands flee back to Bihar and UP's Purvanchal territory. Bihar economy makes remarkable recovery in Q1 2008, resulting in labour shortages in Punjab, Maharashtra. See also, History of India, History of Bengal, History of Tamil Nadu, Political History of Medieval Karnataka. Gallery. Further reading, Swami Sayajanand Saraswati Rajnewali in 6 volumes published by Prakash and Sansthan, Delhi, 2003. Swami Sayajanand and the Peasants of Jharkhand, A View from 1941 translated and edited by Walter Hauser along with the unedited Hindi original. Sayajanand on Agricultural Labour and the Rural Poor translated and edited by Walter Hauser. Religion, Politics, and the Peasants, a memoir of India's freedom movement translated and edited by Walter Hauser. Pandit Yadnandan Sharma, 1947, Bakasht Mein Maurya Empires in Hindi, Allahabad. Indradip Sinha, 1969, Sathi Ke Kisan and Ka Aishahasik Sanasha, in Hindi, Patna. Das Arvind N., The Republic of Bihar, Penguin Books, 1992, George A. Grierson. Bihar Peasant Life. Bengal Secretariat Press, Calcutta. Mishra Sri Govind, History of Bihar 1740–1772, Munshi Monohalal, 1970, Verma B.S., Socio-Religious Economic and Literary Condition of Bihar, Munshi Monohalal, 1962, Nepal v.S., India, A Wounded Civilization, Picador, 1977, Trivithik Allen, The Revival of Buddhist Pilgrimage at Bodh Gaya, Anagarika Dharmapala and the Mayabodhi Temple, Omali LSS, History of Magad, Vienna Publication, 2005, ISBN 81-89224-01-8, Ahmad Khairmuddin, Patna Through the Ages, Glimpses of History, Society and Economy, Commonwealth. Publishers, 1988, Crindle John W.M.C., Ancient India as Described by Ptolemy, Munshi Monohalal, 1927, ISBN 81-215-0945-9, Patrasi, Life in Ancient India, as depicted in the Dyanikara, Punthi Pustak, 1996, ISBN 81-85094-93-4, Hazra Lal, Buddhism in India as described by the Chinese pilgrims AD 399-689, Munchira Monohalal, 1983, ISBN 81-215-0132-6, McCrindle. John W., Ancient India as described by Megasthenes and Arian, Munchira Monohalal, Waddell, Austin L., Report on the Excavations at Pataliputra, the Pataliputra of the Greeks, Asian Publicational Services, Calcutta, 1903, Braspal R., The Politics of India Since Independence, Cambridge University Press, 1990, Askari S.H., Medieval Bihar, Sultanate and Mughal Period, Khuda-Baksh Oriental Public Library, Patna, 1990, Taylor William, 3 months at Patna during the insurrection of 1857, Khuda-Baksh Oriental Public Library, Patna, 2007, Taylor P.J.O., What Really Happened During the Mutiny, a day-by-day account of the major events of 1857 to 1859 in India, Oxford University Press, 1997, ISBN 0-19-564182-5, Basham A.L., The Wonder That Was India, Picador, 1954, ISBN 0-330-43909-X, Nambi Sanvijay, Bihar in the Eye of the Beholder, Penguin Books, 2000, ISBN 978-0-14-029449-1, Radhikanta Barak, Land and Caste Politics in Bihar. References